welcome to the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast on the Most Excellent Podcast Network. It's the podcast where a filmmaker and a comedian take another look at the 80s movies we loved, hated, hated to love, and loved to hate, with a haze of nostalgia, but also with 2018 eyes. It's as if these movies are robots that have run amok, and we are the mustachioed robot cops assigned to track them down before they kill again. This is episode 21, Runaway, a movie selection from 1984.
It is the future. Mysteriously spreading across an unsuspecting city, machines trained to serve humans are turning against them.
What do you got, Jerry? Model 912 cut up 2 people inside the house. I'm going in. You're going in? We can send a disarm robot in.
Hit the floater, it'll hit the disarm, and any minute it's going to decide to hit the kid.
An ingenious conspiracy has begun, and someone has to stop the madman who started it all.
We've got a non-standard chip here. Can turn any domestic computer into a killing machine.
Working late at night all by yourself.
I just had a few things to finish up. No big
I
deal.
insist. Let me help you.
No.
Detective.
A lot of buzz, Jackie. I thought it was Queen.
Luther really wants to keep track of you. Why's that, Jackie? This is a bad guy. He's killed 5 so far. I want him.
I'm telling you, I can't go out there. I can't go out!
What does it take to get through to you? He sees everything. He knows everything that's going on in here.
Can't run away, Ramsey. My little machine will find you wherever you go. You heard of a bullet that has your name on it? This isn't a runaway. This is murder.
We're never gonna make it through this one.
Runaway. Tom Selleck, Cynthia Rhodes, Gene Simmons. Runaway. From TriStar Pictures.
Written and directed by Michael Crichton.
Oh my god, this movie is so great.
I can't wait. I am comedian Chrissy Lenz of National Comedy Theater, and with me as always is...
Filmmaker Nathan Blackwell with Squishy Studios.
I am so excited to talk about this movie.
It's so crazy.
But it's so amazing.
It's a roller coaster of
Everything.
everything.
It's everything.
Including boredom. I won't... but also, like, just mind-bogglingly nuts.
It was a top-to-bottom delight. I have never even heard of this movie.
Yeah, maybe you had seen the cover art, like Tom Selleck wearing like this futuristic Running Man kind of outfit with this like big huge gun, which he never uses in the movie.
Nope.
It's like, oh my gosh, this is like 99-cent, VHS bin kind of stuff, but it is delightful.
It is so
It's interesting.
good.
I'm almost probably no one who's listening to this has seen this movie, so
we should really
it's our
say
job,
what happens.
It's our job to bring them into the fold.
And I have to say, in all the stuff that we are going to put out leading up to posting this episode, I'm going to be like, look, take the $3 to rent this movie, and
It's on
you're
Amazon.
welcome.
It's on Amazon for free.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, then I paid $3 for no reason.
It's okay. It
It's
benefits
okay.
the filmmakers.
And I want them to
Now
have
they
it.
can make another one.
I want them to have my money. They deserve it. If you have not watched this movie, stop listening to the podcast. Watch this movie. It's only like 140 minutes. No, it's an hour. It's an hour and 40 minutes.
It's only 140 minutes. It's not nearly long enough. So this movie, I was just saying before, this movie is the award winner for the 80s technology that is meant to be futuristic, but actually looks like the most dated thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. He's just looking at motherboards.
Yeah, so I think this is supposed to take place like just 10 years later in the future.
Michael Crichton actually said he sees it as being 1 year in the future.
What? Okay.
That's the quote I read.
So it's interesting to see how artists improve.
Yes.
And how they get better at telling stories. Sometimes the same stories over and over again.
Yep.
I feel like Michael Crichton put a ton of effort into making this technology, how it would be in the future, from like drones to robots and programming. And so much about this movie dramatically and emotionally is so wonderfully tone deaf.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That it becomes a delightful confection.
Yeah. So, like, the general plot of the movie is that Tom Selleck is John Ramsey, a cop who works in the Runaway department.
Right.
Which, in this context, means runaway robot.
Right.
He is a cop whose job it is to track down and dismantle technology that has gone awry.
Malfunctioning robots. And
Yeah.
so all these robots, they were designed to be not supercomputers, they're tools. So they're boxy and clampy and
They all look like K9.
yeah. Right,
From Doctor Who.
Right. I mean, not even that sophisticated. They're kind of like the robots we actually have making cars and things like that. So they're arms and boxes and
Yeah,
things like
they're
that.
not even as cool as like R2D2. They're boxes with buttons.
Yeah.
And he gets a new partner who is Penny from Dirty Dancing, who is a beautiful blonde woman, obviously, who's always wearing a skirt, which really annoyed me. And they uncover a plot to essentially build deadly assassin robot spiders and smart missiles, like heat-seeking missiles that you can fire from a gun.
And chips that turn any robot into a killer.
But what they really are after is the templates. The templates so we can build more.
Yeah.
No film in history has ever hinged so much on templates. Templates. Gene Simmons is a cartoonishly evil man who's after the templates. And so of course, he clashes with Tom Selleck. And that's the basic plot of the movie.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about the details.
Oh, my God. So no scenery goes unchewed by Gene Simmons' eyes.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's...
He's
To
ridiculous.
say he as a villain is over the top is doing a disservice to over the top villains.
It's doing a disservice to
It
the
is a
top.
slap in the face to the top.
He's never heard of a top. He doesn't want to know about a top.
And the director,
Who is Michael Crichton.
who's Michael Crichton, I'm sure is just loving it.
Yeah. He's like, more.
One
Would
more.
You're
Yeah,
I'm not
from
getting
what I
enough.
heard, that he was really meticulous. Like, he would do dozens of takes.
oh my God. Before we even meet Gene Simmons, Tom Selleck and his new partner go out on their first mission, which is to catch a rogue cornfield robot. And it's so hilarious. They go in a helicopter because that is the amount of resources that the city is putting into catching corn robots. Helicopter, they get choppered out. We learn that Tom Selleck is afraid of heights. He has a serious vertigo problem. And did you catch this? That the girl, do you remember what her character's name is? I'm just going to call her Penny.
Yeah, Cynthia.
Cynthia. She has this funny subplot where she keeps saying she's had all these other jobs. Did you catch this?
No.
It's like a running gag, except it's not a gag. But she's like, oh, I've had all these other jobs. I was a dancer. I was a construction worker. I worked on a farm for a summer. Like, she has all this real world experience. She just like hops out of the chopper and goes and catches the robot and holds it over her head.
Uh-huh.
I got it. Like, they got it. And then they blow up the robot. It explodes. And the old farm men who are standing around are like, well, I could have done the same thing with my 22. Like, yeah, you're going to shoot a robot?
And then there's another scene where they go to a construction site and the stacker robot is just throwing things out the window. Why is it the police's responsibility to deal with these malfunctioning machines?
It seems like that's the IT department's job.
Yeah. And anytime they show up on site, like the business owners who own these robots are kind of indignant and impatient. It's like, hurry up and solve my problem, please, man.
Yeah. My stacker's throwing bags of concrete off the 18th floor.
I'm waiting. Cross arms.
It doesn't make any sense. But this movie is also surprisingly R-rated at moments. There are boobs and F-bombs.
Not nearly enough.
But
go
enough.
on.
But yeah, it's like if you're going to have any, you need 70% more.
Right.
You can't just have
It's very light.
2 of each.
It's a dash.
It is. And also...
It's almost kind of like the studio who made it had that requirement. Mm-hmm. You know?
The last episode we talked about 3 Men and a Baby, which is rated PG. We didn't talk about it in that episode. It's rated PG. This is like rated R, and I feel like they just needed it to
3 years earlier.
be that.
This is 1984.
Yeah. Okay, so there is a runaway robot that has killed a family, and a baby is trapped inside.
It's a boxy robot that is holding a revolver.
It has a gun, but it had killed 2 adult human beings with a knife. Like it like seriously, picture a trash can with one like Lego robotics arm that has like a pincher on the end, and it took a knife and killed 2 adult humans who should have been able to either swat it away or kick it.
Tipped it over.
Or
stood on a chair.
It murdered them, and then it gets its hands on a gun. And it's shooting. And everyone's so worried.
I feel like I was counting, and I could be wrong, but I feel like it shot more than 6 times in its revolver. And if it's just a standard revolver, it had to have reloaded at some point.
Yeah, which it doesn't have another hand. It only has one hand. It doesn't have thumbs. How is it pulling the trigger? But it's worth it to watch this movie just so you can see what we mean. Because they're like, it's a deadly robot. This is very dangerous. I'm going to go in. And you go in and you see the robot.
It's wonderful.
It looks like a Roomba. It's like DJ Roomba has lost his mind and has gone murder Roomba. So Tom Hanks saves the day. He kills the robot.
The robot.
He saves the baby. And he's the hero of the town. Then we go to his house, where he is the dad of Flight of the Navigator.
Right, the Flight of the Navigator child.
And he has a robot wife.
Yes, Lois.
Who is, again, she looks like a stereo. Doesn't
On
she?
wheels, yeah.
Yeah, she looks like a refrigerator, kind of. And how does it cook?
I disapprove of the way it cooks pasta. There was not enough water to noodle ratio.
But how is it lifting that pan off the stove?
It seemed to have hands. It had something.
But it is like basically a robot mom to the kid.
Yeah.
It raises the kid, it feeds the kid, it babysits the kid, it puts the kid to bed. That's the world we live in.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting because it rides that line that these robots are obviously more sophisticated than and more integrated into society than we have right now. But they do kind of ride that nice line of it kind of being technology that existed then. So it's like the voice technology is complex, but its capabilities are not so far into science fiction. It does feel like it could have been a 10-year future from then.
Yeah.
You know?
Like completely realistically.
Yeah,
What do the robots do? They stack shit.
Yeah.
And they cook pasta.
Yeah, and they also like have drones, which is
The
totally
drones
realistic
were
use.
perfection.
Now, what they should have done is,
Which they call floater. It's a
they
floater.
they send a drone in to survey the house of the murder scene where the robot has killed people and it gets shot. That's when they should have sent in like a robot to stop that other robot. And
Like a hostage negotiator robot?
in a tiny little cut trench coat.
Yes. With its tie all loosened, and it's like, I am too old for this shit.
Right.
I am one day from retirement.
What they should have done is they should have sent in a robot that likes getting shot at. They should have sent in like a bomb disposal robot.
Yeah, why don't they have that? Okay, because also later in the movie,
Thanks for nothing, Michael Crichton.
Tom Selleck disarms a bomb.
Yes.
He's not a bomb guy.
No, it's his first.
Yeah.
Or so I can assume.
Oh, okay. So it's at this point that they uncover the plot because the man whose home it is, they're like, so how'd you modify this robot? This like pasta cooking robot shouldn't be killing people. Like, what the hell did you do? I didn't do anything. And then they rescue his baby and he runs away. Like, he's like, you keep the baby. You keep the baby, Tom Selleck. I've heard you're good.
Yeah, this is where they start saying, you have no idea. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. And he runs off.
Just into the night.
Yeah.
And there's an army of police officers.
We haven't even... okay, so we might not even get past 20 minutes of this movie for this entire podcast. We haven't even talked about... And it has to be... Because it happens more than once. It has to be Crichton's commentary on where he sees the invasiveness of the press going. Like, the press 100% is allowed to go wherever the cops can go. Like, they're allowed to be behind... the barriers during this murder scene, and they're allowed to go into the house as Tom Selleck is able to go into the house.
Yeah.
In fact, the guy actually goes further in front into the murder house with the robot than he is with the camera and the lights, and he gets shot. Spoiler alert.
Yep. And he's like, like coughing, like not trying at all to be stealthy.
And then later... the press is all up in their face in like there's already been a bunch of people shot and it's a crime scene, and the press just walks right in and they're going up to people doing interviews and they're super evasive. But it was really annoying as an audience member because it just felt kind of like contrived conflict.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. With the.
But it has to have been purposeful, and I mean. Yeah, I want to...
He says to them, do you want a carved-up baby on your network? And then the reporter turns, you heard it here, confirmation.
Carved-up babies.
Carved-up baby at 11. Yeah, so... yeah. So then when we finally do meet Gene Simmons...
Yeah. A.K.A. from Kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose name is
singer.
Luther.
Right, the lead singer from Kiss, and he's just... so over the top with his eyes and his mouth
and his voice, and he's sneering.
There's no mustache to twirl, but he is constantly just sneering, and
it's ridiculous.
And he says Ramsey's name, I think,
Ramsey,
at least 50 times. Tell me, Ramsey, what am I going to do next, Ramsey?
Yes, but he's like. There, and everybody is like, you're right. He's everywhere. He sees everything. You don't even know. None of us are safe. We can't go outside. And, like, he is everywhere. But
yeah, he is magically dangerous.
He's standing at the curb with a gun in his hand, disguising it from no one. And he just, like, they walk the guy who modified the chips out of the safe house, and Luther, Gene Simmons, is just standing there, and he takes out his gun and goes, point, shoot, kablooey.
Yeah. There are at least 3 or 4 times where Gene Simmons just makes such a impulsive villainy decision to kill someone then and there, where it makes no... Like, keep talking about how smart he is, and then he does the dumbest things in public.
Like, he should be the easiest person to catch. It's like, he's right there. It's just somebody jump him. Like, I get it, he's got the gun with the heat-seeking missiles, but they miss more often than they hit. Although when they do hit people, you burst into flames and are instantly dead.
Yeah, he's got a gun that's got heat-seeking bullets.
But, I mean, all you have to do is, like, jump away at the last second.
Right.
Or duck behind a table. But he's constantly in public.
Yeah. They're slow enough for people to run away from them.
Yeah.
then to turn a corner and duck.
Yeah. They're not that great. And then the deadliest weapon in his arsenal are these robot spiders that look exactly like the Hexbug toys that you can buy at Target. They're just like these little like metal bodies with these 6 little skittering arms, and they've got a needle that comes out of them. And I couldn't figure out how they were killing people. And then he reveals at the very end that they're full of acid. But even if you poke someone with a needle full of acid, that's not necessarily going to instantly kill them.
No. Like poison, I can understand.
Right.
That would make sense.
But these little spider robots just leap onto people's chests, stab them in the chin with acid, and the people immediately burst into flames and die in a way that you really need to see.
It's
you
the future.
You need to see it.
Michael Crichton's future.
Okay, so then we meet Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
And the worst part of this movie...
She has such a weird arrival in this movie. Like, not the character, but her. It's just like, what the fuck is going on with this character?
Yep. What's grossest about her character is that as soon as Tom Selleck meets her, he immediately becomes a sexist monster, and he's like, "Oh, she's very attractive. Let me help you. Let me help you carry your things. No. Let me help you. I have to assist you. You're very attractive."
He goes way. So she has stolen the templates.
The templates.
The templates for the chips that turn normal robots into killer robots that Luther wants.
Yep.
Because she's in on it, but she's had a change of heart, or she's just trying to get more money out of it. She just wants to survive at this point because he's a monster.
She's kind of playing both sides,
right,
though.
Right.
It's like one of those.
Yeah. And so she's stuck in a room with a robot that's trying to get her. And then this is how Tom Selleck and his partner Cynthia meet. And so as soon as he sees her, he kind of throws all caution out to kind of macho save her. And gets quickly zapped and hurt because of it. And then beats the shit out of this robot when he didn't need to impress her.
And then, like, offers to help her carry her purse.
Yeah, he's been, like, a really steady stand-up guy. He's very even, and, like... And then as soon as she shows up, he's just completely... All that goes out the window.
Yep. And then she becomes this weird object of lust in the movie. Like, all of a sudden, so they're interrogating her. You don't know. He's everywhere. He'll get me. Tell us where he is. No. Tell us where he is. No. Tell us where he is. He's in a meeting. At the Ritz. What? Like, it's just so amazing. So they scan her for bugs. Bugs is all they talk about in this movie. Scan her for bugs, and she has to, like, completely disrobe because she's got a bug in her bra and in her underwear. Like, she has to undress. And then that's the moment where we see boobs too, is like at the Ritz there's all these ladies of the evening. And it's just insane. Oh, I do want to mention before we totally forget that the chief of police is the security guard from Mannequin, who has the dog, the Terminator dog, or what? That's the Terminator. That's the second dog. What's the first dog's name? Rambo.
Gee.
Yeah, it's that guy, and I think he's also from Police Academy. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And at one point, the cops blow up a robot in the precinct, and he just goes, "Assholes." So there's a bunch of chase scenes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they all have to do with Tom Selleck having his fear of heights and his vertigo.
Right.
Which is, I feel like they threw that in, like a rewrite, where Michael Crichton's like, I don't know, we need something else.
He needs a weakness to overcome.
Yeah. Fear of heights.
So this movie, just like 3 Men and a Baby, has a climax in an elevator. It's
a construction elevator.
Right.
And it has the whole plot hinges on what happens when people get out of the elevator. Because, like, to lure him up to the top, to get the templates... Gene Simmons is like, oh, don't worry about my spiders. They won't get you. They're just going to menacingly look at you. And then when he puts Flight and the Navigator in the elevator to escape, because Gene Simmons kidnaps the boy and kills Lois.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
How dare you? How dare you harm the robot wife? But did you catch at that moment where Cynthia and Ramsey come in and they see that Lois has been
knocked over?
They're like, no, she's fine. We just need to keep the hydraulic fluid in her brain.
Oh, yeah, that's so ridiculous. So it's like the robot's literally just been knocked over and it's fallen apart. Yeah. And it's like, no, we've got this. It's okay. I can fix this. And then she plugs something in, and then she just boom, fire.
Yep. No, Lois, no. So the kid's riding down the elevator, and he's like, ha, ha, ha. The spiders are going to kill whoever comes out of the elevator. No one could have predicted my evil plots.
It would have been great. It's like, Lois, no! And then they go into the garage and just turn on another one.
Lois 2.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yes, it's great. It's amazing.
There's a psychic in this movie.
Yes! What was that?
I feel like this entire movie was a lesson for Michael Crichton of that. I bet you this would have been a pretty great book. But then actually seeing all this stuff in real life and having to translate it from idea to reality, suddenly it just all falls apart. Like Tom Selleck hitting a giant boxy robot with his jacket and then kicking it. I mean, maybe you could have, it just looks so weird. And then all these robots, just seeing the actual execution of it.
Yeah, they're not scary or menacing. Like, you say robot spider, I picture something a lot different than the boxy little, literally you could kick them. And
these are
or
full
if
on,
you
like,
armed
Radio
yourself
Shack.
with a hockey stick, you would be safe. 100%. Yeah, that's all you need. So the psychic who they bring in, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? She says...
Oh, yeah, so his boss is writing him all the time, giving the robot cops shit all the time. And it's like, look, stop screwing around and talk to our psychic.
Yeah. He's so mad at them all the time. They're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And the psychic says,
and then,
you were brothers in another life.
And Tom Selleck is like, what is this bullshit I have to listen to? And the psychic is right on the nose. She's she nails it. And
yeah, it's so good. This should be a comedy. There's so many opportunities for this to just be a comedy.
Yeah, there's a robot driver.
Yes.
It's just a mannequin.
It's just a mannequin. And yeah, so there's a car chase. They try and take Kirstie Alley away to save the templates, and he's chasing them with these laser-guided drones, I guess, and they're shooting them out of the air, and then they're like, we thought we got all the bugs. How is he bugging you? And she's like, oh, fine. It's in her handbag. Her freaking handbag. They didn't scan the handbag. She throws the handbag out the window, and they're all safe. And at this point, for some reason, his partner, Cynthia, is wearing a Laura Ashley dress and heels.
Yeah, she's already expressed her interest in Tom Selleck, and Tom Selleck's been trying to keep it professional, and she's super upset about that.
And the son, too. The son, as soon as he meets this policewoman, is like, oh, okay, so is she going to be our new mom? Because she's not married.
Lois and I both agree that you've got to, get it on.
Based on 30 seconds of meeting her, we think that she needs to be our new mom. So Kirstie Alley and Gene Simmons are reunited in this very dramatic moment at a restaurant where it's Gene Simmons has Penny and Tom Selleck has Kirstie Alley, and they're like, we're going to do an exchange at the same time. So the women are walking across, and then when Kirstie Alley gets to Gene Simmons, she kisses him and oh, where our evil plot is all on hand. And then he stabs her in the back of the head with a knife.
Oh, yeah. So this is when this super smart villain does, the dumbest thing. He's out in public, and he just decides to, he has a switchblade that he just stabs her in the back of the neck and just dumps her into the fountain.
Yep.
I think that was a
and
poor choice.
No one in the restaurant reacts.
Well, maybe he was smart.
She's shooting missiles.
And then he proceeds to shoot missiles.
Yes. And then the climax happens. It's this brilliant thing where, of course, Tom Selleck has to face his fear.
Yeah, it's a construction site, and he has to relinquish the templates.
Yes, and to get his son back. And so Karen. No, Karen. Her name's Karen. Wait, who's Cynthia?
Wasn't Cynthia the girl?
I don't know. I wrote down Karen.
All right.
I'll just call her Penny. She should, like, for some reason. Oh, Tom Selleck has been like, you cannot come with me to rescue my son. He's everywhere. He'll know. So thankfully she showed up anyway, and they're like, oh no, when you step out of the elevator, these spider monsters will get you. Ah, what will we do? She shows up.
And she just kicks him over.
She kicks them, and she's like, let's just climb on top of the elevator. And they do.
Let's stand on this chair to avoid the robots.
They do, and then we completely forget about them for the rest of the movie.
Wouldn't it have been great if there was just one character who was constantly outwitting all the robots by standing on a tall wooden chair?
Yep.
Like he had a folding wooden chair with him at all times.
And a broom. Tom Selleck gets sprayed in the face with acid.
Twice.
He gets injected in the arms with acid.
Yeah.
But he hangs on. He confronts his fear.
But he is a pretty big guy. That's another thing. It's like body mass to it's like alcohol. Like I think he had a higher acid to mass ratio.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because it certainly didn't do anything to damage his handsome, rugged face.
I'm trying to work with Michael Crichton here, who was a doctor, and a writer of some of our most influential sci-fi.
It's true. It's true. And then so Gene Simmons falls onto the ground, and of course he is hoisted on his own petard because his own spider monsters inject him full of acid.
Yes.
And he
in fact, they use that very line, petard. His petard has now been hoisted.
But not before the most brilliant moment of this whole thing. We get a last chance villain jump scare.
It's so ridiculous.
I feel
it's
like
amazing.
It's transcendent. It's so far beyond.
It's so emblematic of this entire tone-deaf movie of wonder and delight.
It's good.
Michael Crichton was just took so much detail in predicting the future and to be so misaligned with how people act.
Yeah. Well, so I thought this movie, like, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this must be a remake of a French movie. Like, that's what I thought it was in my mind. Because it just had that feel. Because everyone's so casual all of the time. Like, there's very little urgency or drama in any of the moments that exist. Everything's just so, like, cash in a weird way that I was like, okay, so if this was a direct translation of a French movie, that would make sense to me.
They're trying to normalize and underplay the situation.
Right. Because
or the futurism of it.
Yeah.
I feel like Crichton was trying to... this was not his first film. He had directed a couple movies before this, like The Great Train Robbery with Donald Sutherland and Sean Connery.
I did not know that.
It's at this point, like he had directed like 3 or 4 movies.
So he should know better.
He should know better. Yeah.
Although I argue that this movie is brilliant, and that it was a huge bomb. But it's amazing.
Yeah, I recommend drinking while watching this movie. You don't really need to be like 2 drinks in to enjoy it. Like, it's immediately pretty accessible. But if you have if you're constantly floating on that 1 drink buzz, it's going to make the experience much more delightful.
Yeah, I watched this stone cold sober and folding laundry and was just like so happy. It just made me so happy the whole time. And we were actually texting each other, and I was like, "This is amazing! I love it! I love everything about it." Oh, you have to watch it. It's so good. Okay, so on a scale of 1.
So it's
template.
interesting. How many templates would I give this? So it's a weird one. So it's funny, on IMDb this has the exact same score as 3 Men and a Baby.
Is that right?
Yeah, so we're not the only ones who have fond memories of this. Mm-hmm. It's weird. So I don't know if this movie ever held up. That's the question of like, how does this movie hold up? I don't know if it ever held up.
No.
I think this movie was exactly back then what it is now. Mm-hmm. So it's weird to give it a number. Like I'm thinking 7. Mm-hmm. But that's on held upness. Like if you actually like how much has it held up, it's way lower. But splitting the difference between like my enjoyment of the movie, you know, like held upness like 5, enjoyment like 8, 9.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna put it as a 7.
I used a similar rubric, I think, when evaluating it for myself. It is empirically a terrible movie.
Right. Objectively, and it is.
It's not a good movie.
Right.
But I think everybody should watch this. I think it should be, we should all be watching it all the time. It should be on TV as much as anything else is on TV. And I think everybody's life will be better if they watch it. Yeah, absolutely. Play a drinking game when you watch this. Every time someone says template, take a drink.
Or, and then, you can't do it when someone says Ramsey, because they say his name 52 times in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Anytime he's afraid of heights.
Right.
Take a drink. Anytime Lois is scolding him, take a drink. But what fun would you have sitting around just having a party? Like, you know, we're going to watch this movie. I'm going to show you this movie. We're all going to have a great time.
Yeah, this works perfect when you spring it on someone. Here is something you've never seen before, and now you've got to watch it.
Yes. That's what I want for my birthday, is for you to sit down with me and watch this movie and start to finish. You cannot leave. So I think a 7 or 8 is appropriate. I'm gonna go just one higher than you and give it an 8, just because even though it is a bad movie, it is perfect in its absurdity. Every single note is insane. And so for that reason, I give it an 8. I loved it.
It's a wonderful time capsule and a interesting way to look on to kind of see a different phase of Michael Crichton's creative life.
Okay, so what is your deep cut recommendation?
So I think both of our deep cut recommendations are how to continue the love of the mustache.
Yeah.
Of Tom Selleck. Mm-hmm. So I have a bizarre affinity for the movie Mr. Baseball. Mm-hmm. So early 90s. He plays a baseball player who's traded to a Japanese team, and it's the cultural conflicts of kind of a racist American being in Japan. Mm-hmm. And it's really charming. It shouldn't work. It's got all the aspects of this being kind of one of those standard sports movies, mm-hmm. but it's got a lot of charm, and it depicts a real Japan and real Japanese people who are kind of conflicting with this giant American, who doesn't have open eyes. And yeah, it's full of charm, and I've seen it. It's the movie that I've rented. It's now become a thing. The movie that I've rented so many times, more than most other movies, and not just broken down and bought it.
You need to get that.
It's become a thing now.
Yeah, you just got to keep renting it.
Yeah.
Keep giving them your money.
So, Mr. Baseball.
That's very good. So I'm going to recommend another early 90s Tom Selleck movie, which is Quigley Down Under. And I think we all know that Tom Selleck was also considered to play Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. And I think Quigley Down Under is as close as we're going to get to that being a reality.
Quigley Down Under and Mr. Baseball are both great companion pieces, because they're both like the big American
Yep.
who's thrust into a foreign environment.
That he can't possibly understand.
Yeah, so we've got Japan and Australia. And,
Yeah.
you know, this was many years after Crocodile Dundee,
Yep.
and so it was neat to see another take on Australia, because it really wasn't like, there wasn't a lot of awareness of what Australia was besides like the big like comic version of it.
Yeah. Well, and this is like in Australia of the 1800s.
Yeah, so kind of a Wild West Australia.
Yeah. And it's kind of the story of this American who's hired to, because he's a
Sharpshooter.
super long distance, marksman. Alan Rickman is
Oh yeah.
at his bad guy best.
Yeah, he's in his prime at this point.
Yeah, and it's so good. And it's a great movie. It's a great watch. It's fun. It's action packed. It's sad in moments, and it's great.
Yeah, those are actually a really good kind of double feature, because it also kind of like opens the eyes a bit on like the Aboriginals and things like that. So.
But there's a movie too that like it's just been rattling around in my brain. A Tom Selleck movie from the 80s called Her Alibi.
Oh yeah,
Where
yeah.
she's a murderer, maybe. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. We should maybe revisit that. Okay, so here's the thing. We have not decided what we're gonna do next.
Ooh.
Should we stick with this line and maybe do Goots? Like, we'll do Goots
Oh,
and
God, no.
watch Short Circuit?
Oh, maybe.
Because, like, I think that movie's fairly problematic.
Yes, in a great way.
Yeah, should we do that next?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And Craig has put down his flag as wanting to do Short Circuit.
He calls Short Circuit?
Yeah.
Perfect.
He wanted to do either Rocky IV or Short Circuit.
And he will do both.
Right.
Like it or not. Okay, so coming up next, we're going to be watching Short Circuit. Very excited.
The beloved movie that's probably extremely problematic.
I think so. Yeah. But I can't wait to see Johnny Five again and see how that holds up. You can find Most Excellent Pod every place pods are found. Like, rate, review, thumbs up, leave us a review. We appreciate it.
It really does help. I mean, this is an artisanal podcast.
It is.
We don't make any money off of this.
Nope.
We're not looking to. I mean,
I'm
if
not
you
not
want-
looking to.
if you give us we'll take it, but it's going to be socially awkward.
But so far, no one's offering it.
Yeah,
So.
but if you like us, if you share us, that helps us get out to other people. I mean, leaving a review or leaving a rating on iTunes or whatever the effing places that this is on.
Stitcher.
Yeah,
iTunes and Stitcher.
the
are
things
really
that confuse me, and I just go back to iTunes.
Yeah.
It actually does change the algorithm, and it shares it with other people. And so if you do that, it actually helps us find a bigger audience.
Yeah. And we appreciate it. So thank you very much. And you can find me at nctphoenix.com or at National Comedy Theater if you're in the Phoenix area.
And then Squishy Studios, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Squishy Studios. That's our stuff.
Yay! Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you. And of course, as always, keep your most excellent podcast motto in mind. When you're out there in the world, be excellent to each other and...
The templates, Ramsey! The templates!